Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. I am Gloria Godson, and this is the Grace Talk. Thank you for joining us today. Today is the kickoff of our 30-day Worship is Warfare campaign. We plan to take over the atmosphere and saturate it with praise and worship throughout this election season and this month. And we invite you to join us. God is on the move in America, and Jesus shall prevail in these United States. The 2020 elections is only a couple days away, and America continues to vote in record numbers. So far, over 90 million Americans have already voted in this election. Here at the Grace Talk, we are committed to continue to bring you credible candidates who are running for elected office here in Delaware. My guest today is one such candidate, Tim Collins, candidate for state representative. Tim, welcome to the Grace Talk.
Thank you. It's nice to have the opportunity to speak here today.
Absolutely. So, Tim, I've got to know you a little bit in the last week or so that you and I have been talking, but my audience don't know you. So tell us, who is Tim Collins? You bring a very rich background to where you are, and I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. My name is Tim Collins. I'm 40 years old. I live in Newcastle, Delaware, in the Collins Park area. I'm going to be running for state representative of the 17th district, which is pretty much the Newcastle area. I'm a father of one. One of my sons, he is actually not my biological son, but I took custody of him. 12-year-old, single father. Homeowner. We're getting to be a homeowner soon. I own a small business, steel coating driveways. An all-around great guy. I just try to take care of people at the end of the day. I'm also a member of Victory Christian Fellowship with Pastor Gary Whetstone. He's been a mentor of mine. Him and Pastor John Hooper and Christopher Alplady have always been very good to me. Have kind of guided me through life over the past numerous years. I don't know what else you want to know.
Thank you. That's a very good start. Now, tell us about your platform. What is it that really got you to determine that you're going to run for elected office in Delaware?
One of the biggest issues is, one is obviously racial injustice, but injustice in a whole. It doesn't just happen in Black America. It happens to everybody, but more so in the Black end, and I get it. It takes for somebody that's actually experienced injustice to actually stand up against injustice, to have a heart to put an end to the injustices that take place, especially here in the state of Delaware and across the country. Those are one of my biggest things. But one of the things I've been talking to people about on the campaign trail is the apprenticeship programs. What I want to do is for these kids that can't afford to go to a high-end school or go to college. I'm sorry, crazy cat of mine. One of the biggest things I want to do for these kids that can't afford to go to a high-end school or go to college to get high enough grades to get the VOTEX, I want to get the apprenticeship programs into the schools so that they can learn something other than just your typical, 12th grade learning. This would give these kids an opportunity when they get out of high school to do one of three things: become an entrepreneur, go work for a mom and pop, or go work for the union, which is even better because then they'll get a whole bunch of benefits. Although our Democratic Party here in Delaware hasn't been very good, as you can see with the new Amazon being built to our unions have been pushed aside. There's a lot of backyard deals going on between the superpowers of the union and the Democratic Party that's actually putting our union workers in Delaware on the sidelines, which I will expose very quickly. I believe that these kids that can't afford to go to college or get high enough grades to get into the VOTEX, or can't afford to go to a high-end school, these kids are at poverty level, and there's something going on at home that's causing them not to be able to function in schools. So we got to come to an end and do something about this issue. This is why I figured that it would be a good idea to get the apprenticeships and home economics back into the schools. As far as the justice system, I know that there's a lot of injustice. I've experienced it. Where do you want me to go with this? Do you want me to wait until later? You gonna get deep
No,
into
no,
this?
no, absolutely. I think that I really want you to dive in. One of the things that you've said, which really resonates with me, is the fact that, you know, there's injustice all around this nation, and you have experienced it personally. So talk to us about the personal injustice that you experienced, which has given you the passion to come against racial injustice and other forms of injustice in our system.
Sure. So as a kid growing up, I was in and out of group homes, in and out of foster care. They basically treated me like a dog at the SPCA instead of treating me like a human being. This was the way the state of Delaware takes care of their kids. And unfortunately, even today, it's somewhat of a cover up, but it still happens even today. I want to put an end to this. We have got to stop in the family court system. I always came up with, it's kind of scriptural if you think about it. I put this together and it's been resonating in my spirit for a very, very long time, that the family court comes to rob, kill, and destroy families, where the Division of Family Services comes in. They divide the family up, causes mental torment to the child, which causes that child to become a future criminal, which keeps this unjust, pathetically run judicial system going around and around. And we have got to put an end to it. First of all, starting in the home, so these kids can get the education that they need, do a better job of helping families bond better. There's a lot going on within the families, and I think there's a lot that we can do, especially on the church end. Churches have got to step up and start helping families and giving them the courage and the strength to be able to be a bonding family. But growing up, like I said, they just did everything they could to destroy my family instead of bettering it. I want to do a better job of putting together programs that actually strengthen families, because we can no longer allow our system to destroy families. We have got to pull these things together. That's why this criminal justice system is just hurraying, because they're making so much money and it's become a huge farce. So we got to put an end to it. At the age of 16 years old, now I know some people are going to cringe, but I'm going to ask you, please listen to what I'm telling you, because what I'm going to tell you is probably going to make you cringe, but you got to listen to me, because this is very serious. At the age of 16 years old, 15 actually, going into 16, I was a month away from my 16th birthday. I was falsely accused of a sex offense. It's very unfortunate that at that point I was thrown into a group home for almost 3 years. Almost 3 years, waiting to go to court, to go to trial. I've begged and begged and begged our public defender's office, please, let's go to trial. And they just kept pushing me off. Now, what happens within our public defender's office? First of all, they are overpowered with cases. They can't handle the caseload. And they plea a lot of people out, even people that were falsely accused, even on the black end. I mean, I've watched so many people get plea bargains just to walk out of jail, just so they can get home and take care of their families over false allegations, because our right to a speedy trial has been violated. And needless to say, I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, and I wasn't going to sit in a group home for the rest of my life. So I took a no contest plea. I didn't want to take the plea, but I had no other choice. Judge Tolliver, who was the judge on the case, he asked me. Now, back then, there was what was called a cap. Whatever the public defender and the attorney general came up with, that was it. And there was nothing the judge could do besides sign it. Judge Tolliver asked me at least 5 times, Mr. Collins, are you sure you want to take this plea? He knew what was going on. And I said, Your Honor, with no disrespect, I don't know what else to do. I have no money. I can't afford a lawyer. The public defender's office can't help me. I'm done. I need to get out. So here we are. Took the plea. I wish I would have known what I was going to get myself into, but I'm a firm believer that God doesn't put you through something for nothing. So, hello. So, yeah, I mean, so I took that plea. It was the biggest mistake I ever made. In fact, he told Jane Brady, who's the head of the Republican Party, that it was the stupidest thing I could have ever done. For years, I kept trying to clear my name over this false allegation. Unfortunately, we have this thing called vindictiveness that takes place within the state. And because these people have never experienced anything in the Department of Justice or in the public defender's office, they don't understand what goes on in kind of low poverty areas where people use the vindictiveness to put somebody in a really bad spot, especially the way they did me. So needless to say, I fought for years trying to get my name cleared. And finally, I went to a pardon hearing. And thank God for Judge Tolliver. Now, let me tell you this. Nobody in the history of the pardon board, nobody has ever had a judge show up on behalf of them at a pardon hearing. Judge Tolliver took it upon himself to come out away from his work come up to the courthouse in Dover, Delaware from Wilmington and stood up on my behalf to clean my name up. Needless to say, I was asked by the Chancellor Judge, Mr. Collins, are you still denying this offense? And I said, sure, yes, I am. I was a victim of somebody being vindictive. And at the end of the day, you know, we have a judicial system that's just not working out very well. And here I am. No, I'm not going to admit to this. I was falsely accused. Needless to say, they pardoned me. Now, there's two ways of getting a pardon in Delaware. Excuse me. One of those ways is to ask for forgiveness. I never asked for forgiveness for something I didn't do. The second way is to get a pardon under a manifest injustice. So how do you think I got the expungement? I didn't get it because I asked for forgiveness. I got it because it was a manifest injustice. Needless to say, there were issues with the judicial system and the way it was set up to where I couldn't get it expunged. So needless to say, I went over to several legislators, Anthony Del Colo, Mike Ramone, Dave Lawson, a couple of other people, and we got past the expungement bill. It says if you're pardoned, you can be expunged. So needless to say, after that, this year I was expunged in August. They actually took until after the deadline to file. That's why I had to run as a write-in, because I couldn't get on the ballot because the deadline was done. I couldn't get on with the Republicans. I couldn't get on with the Democrats. I had to file as a write-in. So that's why I had to go as a write-in. Now, in my view, I could have easily walked away from this whole situation after I was expunged, packed my bags, and left the very state that tried to destroy me. But I know too much. I know too much about the corruption. I've had enough of the corruption. I've had enough of seeing good people that made bad mistakes suffer for the rest of their lives. We can't do that. I'm a firm believer that old things have passed away and all things have become new, and that we can all do things through Christ who strengthens us. Those have been the two scriptures that I've lived by all my life. I never say no. I just get it done. I just get it done. So needless to say, because I knew the corruption, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and run. A lot of people are saying I'm probably not going to win because I'm a write-in. I cannot tell you how many people have told me that they're going to write me in. In fact, on the campaign trail, I've walked so many houses and I've talked to so many people, and several people have actually showed me a copy of their mail-in ballot and said, I've already voted for you. You don't even have to go any further. Because they've watched my videos on my website at www.votecollins17.com. All my videos are there, some of the things that I've experienced and where I plan to go. This political process can't be about Republican or Democrat anymore. This has got to be about people.
Yes.
There are so many great people that are falling under the wayside, especially in Delaware. If you take a look at Biden's Delaware, I'm not going to say who I'm endorsing, whether it be Biden or Trump, because at the end of the day, I'm more worried about the local politics than I am worried about national. I care about people. If you take a look at what's happened here in Delaware, we've lost GM, Chrysler, we've lost DuPont, we've lost Hercules, and the list. I can sit here for 10 minutes to talk about everything that we have lost under Democratic leadership. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to budget money, and something's going on. Take a look at the landscape with John Cornyn now. It's just everything's starting to come out of the woodworks. When you start praying, asking God to show you some things come out, don't they? But that's pretty much me in a nutshell, what I've experienced. I did have a fiance when I first met her, never, ever touched a drug a day in her life. And then after the doctors gave her Percocet, it spiraled out of control and became an addiction. She put me through hell and back and some. And if anybody's ever experienced having a family member that has experienced a drug problem, you know exactly what I mean. She would make false allegations. She knew that I was already falsely accused before. She used the system. I don't know if you know about Joe Biden's Violence Against Women's Act, but in Delaware, if a woman cries wolf, it's over. You're done. The amount of times that I had to go to court over her, and the judges were asking me, what the heck is going on here? And I'm telling them, she's got a drug problem. Nobody's listening to me. They're listening to her because she's a woman. When are you guys going to listen to me? So yeah, I've had my fair share. And again, I'm a firm believer of God doesn't put you through something for nothing. So there was one incident where I will tell you that she swung an axe at me under the influence of drugs and alcohol because I wouldn't give her any money for her drugs. And the police were called by the neighbors. The police came out and I said to them, I said, look, she's under the influence of drugs and alcohol. What can we do to fix the problem? I can understand if she wasn't, we have a crime, but she's under the influence. What can we do to fix the problem? And there were no resources. They said, you're going to have to take it up to the prosecutor. So I did. I mean, I'm not going to go into a long story with that, but you can, well, you know what, I will, because actually, let me tell you, I talked to the prosecutor and I said the same thing I'm saying here. And they told me the only way to get her any kind of help is to get her into the criminal justice system. Let me tell you what that really means. That means one more statistic close to getting federal funding for the state of Delaware. This is what it's all about, folks. This is not about helping people. This is about getting federal funding for the state of Delaware for all these unnecessary organizations they got going on. My solution is this. My opponent wants to defund the police. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. It's all over her Facebook page. She's actually locked her Facebook page so nobody can see it anymore. But you'll see these photos here very shortly. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see them. And if you go to my website, you'll see them there. They were screenshotted right off her Facebook page. We can't defund the police. We need to do a better job of vetting our police. We need to do a better job of giving them the police training that they need. More so, I think we need what's called community resource officers. For example, the situation that I experienced that I shared with you today, when I said to him, what can we do to fix the problem? His response can be, you know what, Mr. Collins, give me 1 second. Let me call my community resource officer, get them out here, have a round table. Let's see what we can do. They come out, we talk, figure out where her issues are, see what we can do, and get them hooked up with resources. I don't know if you know about Firm Foundation. They're connected to Journey Church, a guy named Zach Bibb. Very nice guy. I've had many conversations with him. And if I get into office, I'm going to have him at plenty of meetings. We're going to try to get that thing financed. It's a God-based treatment program that is doing really well. And I support him 110%. But at the end of the day, when the police officer can call a community resource officer out, instead of trying to criminalize this person, find out what their needs are, see what we can do to fix the problem, and turn these people into good people. We can do it. That's where I'm at with everything. I care about people, and I'm just tired of seeing people getting dragged through a big money laundering system from federal to state. It's got to stop. There's great people out there that are just in poverty level, and you know, if we don't get good jobs back here, we're going to stay at the poverty level. We got to stop. So what I want to do is get the apprenticeship programs back into the schools. This is the first thing. If we do this, this will give these kids an opportunity to learn a trade. And when they get out of high school, they can do something. There's a lot of kids that are bored today. They get dumped on the streets because, you know, after they turn 18, that's it. There's so much we can do. I also want to stop that because if we can get the apprenticeship programs in there, this will also stop the pipeline from school to prison. And if I have to squeeze the life out of the unions, I will. But I also want them to go into the prisons and into probation and parole to help those who we've already let down. So we can help turn their lives around. We got to turn Delaware around. I care about people. I know there's the big thing with my opponent. She cries healthcare, healthcare, healthcare. Healthcare is not the only issue. I know some of my colleagues that know enough about healthcare, and I will deal with them, and we'll do whatever we have to do to make sure that everybody gets affordable healthcare. But these are all big issues, and so is healthcare. But these are huge issues in Delaware. And these are some of the things that I want to tackle. The United States Constitution means something to me. I don't know if it means anything to you, but I'm going to stand up for the U.S. Constitution. I will make sure your First Amendment rights are upheld. I will also make sure that your gun rights are upheld. You have a right to bear arms. I will do everything that I can to get better benefits for our veterans. Our veterans deserve anything and everything that they need. And I'll do whatever I can for our veterans. Our seniors will be protected under my watch. I do care about our seniors. I'm not too happy about them getting $14.90 a month. I know back in the day they were depending on you getting Social Security, and they were also betting on you getting a pension, so you could be able to live off of both. But there's some people that are living on just Social Security. I'd like to get the $14.90 raised to about $2,000 and keep on working it up until we can get it higher. That way you guys can live. I don't think it's fair that you get $14.90 and some families that are just living off government are getting a heck of a lot more than that. It's just insane. I will put law and order first. I will make sure that for everybody, white, black, Hispanic, I will make sure law and order is there for everybody, to protect our community, to protect our people, do everything I can to help turn people's lives around and get Delaware back on its feet. That's why I'm running for office, because I have real life experiences that call for real life change. And we need to put an end to the corruption within our systems and just look out for the best interests of people and not politics. This ain't about Republican, Democrat, black, white. Folks, this is about people. I care about people, and I just want everybody to succeed. Like I said, I could have walked away. I mean, I'll get into one more thing with you, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. But I was, because of being on this sex offender registry over a false allegation all those years, I was homeless at one point in time. I still did everything I could to keep money in my pocket legally. But I literally went from living in a tent to living in a conversion van to living in an RV, a motel. Then I went from that to living in a one-bedroom trailer. And thanks to a Republican, by the way, state representative, I don't want to mention his name because they're already trying to tear him all up as it is. Thanks to a Republican state representative who actually saw the best of me and knew who I was and bought this. It was my grandfather's house. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm enjoying every bit of it. But this is my grandfather's house, and he bought it off of me at a really nice price. And I'm doing a lease purchase. So things are moving up in my world. I've been in poverty. I know what it feels like to be in poverty, having only a couple of cents or nothing in my pocket to have gotten to where I am today. And I want to give that very same hope to those who are suffering, help them turn their lives around. I've pushed through the corruption to get to where I am today. And again, I just want to give hope to those who are going through the corruption right now. And it's kind of like going through hell. And if I can put my hand out and do everything I can to rip them out of hell and get them back on track, man, that's where I'm at. I care about people. We got to turn Delaware around. And I really appreciate the opportunity to speak today. And hope I didn't go off too long, but if there's any other questions you have, feel free to ask.
Now, Tim, you touched on so many things that really resonate with me, and I know resonate with our audience. And by the way, for those who are watching us on Facebook, Stephen McBride says, I agree. And so again, you can type your questions. If you have any questions for Tim, please go ahead and type those. If you have any comments for him, please type those as well. We are connected to Facebook, and we can see your comments live and make sure that Tim hears them and can respond to your questions. Tim, I can tell you that many of the things that you said resonate with me. Just your background is so compelling, what you bring to your platform. The options, providing optionality for kids who are in high school is critical. So many kids wanting to go to college are saddled with college loans, school loans that, when they come out, many of them are not able to have jobs that can pay off those loans. Having opportunities and options, aside from going to college, for those that do not want to go to college is critical.
Yeah, can I stop you there for a second? It cracks me up when I hear the Democrats say they want to raise minimum wage. Minimum wage was never there to be a living wage. It was there for high school kids to make a little money, put it in their pocket, have a little bit of money to move on in life until they can get through college or whatever the case may be, so they can go on their own. That's just why we have to bring back darn good manufacturing jobs. I spoke with Todd Ruckel. I don't know if anybody knows who Todd Ruckel is. And right behind my neighborhood here is it's Lucan's Drive. And Lucan's Drive has a lot of empty buildings, which could produce a lot of manufacturing jobs. Not to mention there's a huge space back there. We had a conversation with some cruise lines, Todd did, and they were talking about possibly making that back area, that space back there, a cruise place for a cruise line, because these cruise lines can't get to their destination easily through Philadelphia or Baltimore. By doing this would bring massive jobs to Delaware, because we would put stores back there, restaurants, and just make that an attraction that would also bring millions of dollars to Delaware. I mean, probably even billions if we can get it right, but millions of dollars to Delaware. I think that's a great idea, and I'm going to do everything I can to get that to happen. I'm going to look around for buildings that are vacant so that we can figure out what we can put in those buildings. I mean, we can't have vacant buildings in Delaware. We got to turn them around and put jobs in there. Good paying jobs, $20, $30, $40 an hour, $15 an hour. And you can cut it to an extent, but got to be making some fair money if you want to live comfortable. And I don't know about you, but I want to be making money that's going to make me comfortable. And I want to see other people making money where they're comfortable, they're not struggling, they're making enough to make ends meet and be able to live life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's your constitutional right. And under Democratic leadership in Delaware, we've lost all that. And we got to turn it around.
We've got to turn it around. That's absolutely the truth. And your experience within the criminal justice system, the family court system, taking a plea deal, which ended up being like a death trap and trapped you for so many years. That is the experience of so many people. And unfortunately, people are also languishing in the jails for the same thing. They took plea deals because, they were, basically railroaded into, there were no options for them. And I was really stricken. I am an attorney by trade, so I was really.
One of the biggest things I'd like to do is produce a bill. I don't know how far it would go, but produce some sort of a bill that says, listen, unless you have solid evidence, we can't be, proving these people guilty before being innocent. There's a lot of people being proven guilty before being proven innocent. If you don't have solid evidence and you can't hear that case within 120 days, you need to give them a bail review and let them go so that they get back to their families. But if you have solid evidence at that bail review that can hold them longer, well, then we'll push it out another 90 days, whatever the case may be. But we got to put a cap on it somewhere, because if not, they'll be just like me sitting in a group home. Don't worry about that guy, And then guess what? I've had enough. I give up. What's the stupid plea? I got to get out of here. I got family to take care of. I'm tired of being held hostage. What do I got to do? What's it going to take? And here we go. We take a plea bargain just to get the heck out. And we got to stop that. We can't be holding people hostage so that the state of Delaware can get all their federal funding. It's got to stop. That's all it's about, is federal funding. If you go to any public forum, I've been to many public forums regarding the past 10 years. I've spent 10 years in the legislature on my own time and dime, advocating for some issues within the Criminal Justice Family Law Commission, sex offender management boards, and the list goes on. But all I hear is a bunch of goofballs sitting behind the table. Well, if we get this, we don't get our federal funding. If we don't do this, we're not going to get our federal funding. That's all it's about. It's not about people. It's about how much money they can put into their little programs to keep them going. We got to stop. Turn people around.
Absolutely. I have a question for you from Steve McBride on Facebook. He says, how do you think the state should go forward with the COVID pandemic?
Let me tell you what I think about the pandemic. Are you ready for this? And then we'll go there. I truly believe that the Democrats and Republicans both have done a hell of a job of handing our country over to China. Trump went in there and basically grabbed China by the throat and said, listen, you either take the deal or see you later. Well, they took the deal, and the United States is winning. We've been winning for a very long time after that deal. And the rest of the world followed suit, because nobody wants China to be number one. They've been number one for too long. It's, we're the United States of America. We're the best country in the world. So guess what China does this year? In fact, I think it happened last year, because I really think I had COVID back in November. It was like having pneumonia times 10, but I thank God that I got through it and I'm here today. There's obviously a reason he kept me going, but anyway, here we have this China virus. I wouldn't call it coronavirus, it's China virus, that they spread across the world. They did it deliberately. This is a political move, and I don't appreciate it. As far as the COVID, what we should do, honestly, I mean, if you really look at the statistics, take the masks off, man. Take them off. Be done with it, and go ahead and let it take its course. I think that the mask shouldn't be mandatory. I think it should be optional. If you want to play the COVID game, just do the social distancing if that's what you want to do. If somebody comes along and says, "Hey, do you mind just staying 6 feet apart?" Hey, do it. Just give them their 6 feet. It's personal space anyway, right? Just give them their 6 feet and be done with it. I think Trump has come out with a vaccine, and he's also come out with a new drug that's they can almost cure this thing right away. You saw he had COVID and was out of the hospital within, a week or so, not even. And he's COVID free, and his son was COVID free within a day, I think. So I think there's a cure out there. I think it's coming very quickly. I really don't know where to go with this. I think that I would have to have some roundtables with some people. I don't want to sit here and lie to you and say that I know everything, because I don't. I think the COVID thing has just, it's overplayed now. It's become an overplayed situation. And I agree with the families that have lost loved ones. I'm very sorry that happened. And we obviously want to do everything we can to protect people, but I think they have hurt small businesses. I'm disgusted that the governor allowed big box stores to stay open, but didn't let small businesses stay open. At the end of the day, Julia Murray's your best bet, by the way. I think she's going to turn this whole COVID thing around and give people, the small businesses, an opportunity to open back up fully so that they can strive just like the big box stores. Because as you can see, the Democrats want corporate America, and we can't have corporate America. We need to all be able to strive. You know, poor, middle class, rich, we all need to strive. So to answer your question, I got my opinions, but let the experts be the end result. I really don't know what to do with it. My opinion is just leave it alone and just let it run its course. It's going to do it anyway. And the masks aren't doing anything. It even says it on the box that there's no cure. So, or I'm sorry, not no cure. It says it doesn't protect you from coronavirus. So it's kind of a purposeless act.
Thank you, Tim. One more question for you before we have to end today. Police retraining, you talked about the racial injustice and all that. What would you do about that here in Delaware?
You said police training?
Retraining. I know that you're not for defunding the police, and I completely agree with that.
Yep.
But then what would you do about the racial injustice? What would you do about the police in Delaware?
It's a tough question. I've had some conversations with many police officers who know of a few that should be gone. We need to do a better job of vetting them. Just like they do the FBI, there's a process, and it's a very lengthy process to make sure that we don't have racist police officers within our force. I back the blue 110%, but I know that there's racial injustice out there. What I'd like to see is more mental health training for our law enforcement, so they understand, from people like myself even, you know, our life experiences and what we've experienced, and, you know, take some solutions on what we've experienced and what we think could benefit the state and the people that they're serving. It's a tough question. I would need to sit down with a round table with attorneys, with law enforcement themselves, hear what they have to say. I would love to get into the community and listen to people in the community, hear what they have to say. And just, it's not going to be an overnight process. This is something that has to come from everybody, the community, the police departments, the public defenders, the lawyers. You know, where is the injustice? What can we do to stop it? I mean, I'm not going to be a jerk about this, but if you come at me with a weapon, I'm going to do what I have to do to protect myself, and so will the police. But how do I want to say this to where it makes sense? They need to understand that just because they have a weapon doesn't mean they need to use excessive force. Give them an opportunity to put it down. If they don't, well, then they have to do what they have to do. But definitely racial injustice is an issue, and I will stand up against it. I will tell you that. I will do everything I can. We will talk to law enforcement and all the proper people that we need to talk to, have the roundtables, and come to a conclusion and see what we can do to fix the problem.
Thank you,
I don't think that my opponent claims that she was a part of the bill of the chokehold thing. Delaware has been a one-size-fits-all state for years. We have bills that are bills from California or Texas or some other state. You know, something happens in another state and they want to go gung-ho and put a law out. It can't be like that. We have to look out for the state of Delaware and, you know, what's going on in the state of Delaware and what we can do to change Delaware, not change it because something happened in Texas or something happened in Florida or something happened wherever. It's got to stop. We need to worry about Delaware. We need to worry about the people in Delaware and turn this thing around.
Thank you, Tim. Very engaging conversation. For those who are just joining us, we are wrapping up a conversation with Tim Collins, candidate for state representative. Tim is looking to bring apprenticeship programs back to high schools. He's looking to bring them back to the prisons to provide options both for high school students and also to enable the prisoners when they come out to re-engage and re-enter society in a way that's respectable and that gives them an opportunity to shut the revolving door so they don't have to go back to prison. He's looking to reform the family court system because he himself has been a victim of injustice within that system. Reform that to provide optionality and prevent people from sitting, waiting for trial for years. He has a proposal for that. He's looking for criminal justice reform against speedy trials, looking for options to end the racial injustice by helping the police and also working with the community to find credible solutions. Tim has a tremendous background in that he has been working on his own time and dime in the legislature, advocating for many of these issues. And I truly believe that he will be an asset to the community. He is running as an independent, so look for him as an independent. That is important.
Real quick, just so you know, when you go to the polls, nobody funneled me $900 to be on the ballot. You see my opponents, the donors, are not even donors from the state. They're all a bunch of corporate donors that donate to all the Democratic Party. This is what they do. I wasn't paying $900 to anybody. I spent my money wisely within the advertising world, and I went door to door, tried to speak to everybody that I could. So when you go to the ballot, Melissa Minor Brown is who I'm running against, who's done absolutely nothing for you in 2 years. If you look to the left, her name will be on the left. And if you look to the right, it's going to say write-in. All you have to do is click write-in and type in my name, and I'll be in. It only takes an extra 5 seconds or so, 6 seconds to do that. If you care anything about this state, if you care anything about the people of this state, their constitutional rights and freedom, please, I beg you today, take that extra couple of seconds to click right in, type in my name. Tim Collins.
Oh, can you run that again by us, just to be clear? So when people go, your name is not actually on the ballot. They have to write it in.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, the Democratic Party did a nice job with the courts in trying to expunge my record a couple of weeks after the deadline. So I wasn't about to wait another 2 years to get in and do everything I could to stop some of the craziness going on here so we could turn Delaware around. So I went as a write-in. Some people think you can't win as a write-in. Write me in, watch what happens. Let me tell you, I've spoken to a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people. I'm out 10, 12 hours a day knocking on doors, talking to people, trying to, lip dropping. And, I was out last night. I was out handing out candy all over the entire district when, in fact, my opponent just went to a couple of black neighborhoods because that's what she's betting on, being a nurse, being black, and being a Democrat. She's going to win this race. I would hope that this isn't about Democrat or black or white or being a nurse. You're a nurse. Thank you for your service. Go back to being a nurse. We don't need nurses here. We need people that have had real life experiences that are willing to turn this state around. I went to every single neighborhood, including Dobbinsville, who was left out. Collins Park, that was left out. All these small neighborhoods that are in poverty that were left out. I went out and I handed out candy to everybody, gave out my literature, talked to people, giving them hope. And I'm hopeful that they'll vote for me. But I also went to the other neighborhoods like Chadwick and there's plenty of them out there. Langolan. I went to all of them and did everything I could to talk to everybody. But I care about people, man. That's what this is all about. I just want to see Delaware turn around. There's only been so much that I could have done on the outside looking in. But once I get in, how much more do you think I can get done? I'll get her done because I don't take no for an answer. I get it done.
Thank you, Tim. Again, folks, remember that you actually have to write him in. That was a good note. Make sure that you click right in and type his name, Tim Collins, and vote for him. Thank you for watching us today. It has been a delightful chat. Obviously, Tim has a lot to say. He has a passion for the state, and that's clear that he brings a passion to his candidacy. Stephen McBride says, thank you, first-time viewer, and I enjoyed it. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you for your question. Folks, again, I would a quick reminder to join our 31-day Worship is Warfare campaign. Go to our Facebook page, The Grace Talk, and join in Let's Saturate this State with Praise. I would also like to invite you to the We Seek Revival Prayer and Worship Night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Liberty Church in Bear. It's near Lum's Pond. God's people will gather there and unite no matter what happens with the elections on Tuesday. The people of God will unite to pray and to seek God. So come worship with God's people and pray for revival. Keep in mind that you must RSVP on Eventbrite to make sure that they keep social distancing requirements in place. So RSVP on Eventbrite for We Seek Revival Prayer and Worship Night from 6 to 9 p.m. on November 7th, this Saturday, November 7th. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you, Tim. Very interesting conversation, very enthusiastic, and I will plan to vote for Tim. Write him in, and I encourage you guys to do the same. Now let everything that has breath praise the Lord. Thank you for watching us. Good night, and may the Lord bless you.